the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair, nuns in their sanctifying embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song, a holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair, nuns in their sanctifying embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song, a holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair, nuns in their sanctifying embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song, a holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair, nuns in their sanctifying embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song, a holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair, nuns in their sanctifying embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every known song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every known song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every known song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every known song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity and every old song, a holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity and every old song, a holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity and every old song, a holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity and every old song, a holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity and every old song, a holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every known song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every known song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every known song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every known song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity and every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity and every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity and every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity and every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Ooh, serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity and having no sun. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity and having no sun. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity and having no sun. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity and having no sun. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity and having no sun. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian voices of devotion pure and fair, nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair, nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every known song. Holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair, nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every known song. Holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair, nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every known song. Holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion pure and fair, nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every known song. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chant, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every old song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every known song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine. Feel the sacred air. Voices of devotion, pure and fair. Nuns in their sanctified embrace, whispering prayers to find solace and grace. Serenity in every known song. A holy chorus in unison we become one. Gregorian chants, timeless and divine. In this sacred space, our spirits intertwine.